Hello, happy 2023 everyone. It's Phil here in the studio and we are live for our first show of the year, our first Tuesday. Start as you mean to go on. Totally pie in the sky. Our first Thursday show of the year. I was just saying to someone on the team, they said, oh, I'm off tomorrow. I'm like, what are you doing off on Wednesday? Tomorrow's Friday. So there we go. Look, welcome everyone. We're live. I'm just going to sort out a little audio issue that I have been told is wrong. That's now fixed, everyone. And look, it's about you. This is Digital DJ Tips open house for the next hour or so. We've got everything here that we've normally got, all the gear, all the music, all the tips, all the advice. We've got the book. If you haven't got the book, by the way, go to digitaldjtips.com/join. Grab a copy for free, the best-selling book on Amazon on how to DJ. That's what we do. We teach DJing. And every Thursday, we like to just throw the school open, if you like, and just chat DJ with you guys and girls for an hour. So that's what we're doing for the next hour. Welcome. This is the studio. This is the laptop where I can see all your questions coming in live. It is a little bit strange at the moment because we are just getting our heads back into it. We're just blinking in the light after the wonderful time we've had over the festive period. I hope you have too. But hey, we're ready to go and we're here to help you. So the only bit of housekeeping really that we've got to talk to you about today is that we have got the close date now for the Digital DJ Census. Now the Digital DJ Census is our annual giveaway of DJ gear, which is all to do with us getting out information from you to the industry about your DJing, your music, your gear, your aspirations, the kind of gigs you play, where you are in the world. It's a wonderful way of you sharing where you're at in your DJing with us, the leading DJ school in the world, and we then produce it into a lovely PDF and we share it with the industry, but also we give you a copy too, so you can take part in this and also you can find out for yourself where, how, what, when all the other DJs in our community do their DJing. So it's a great thing to be involved in. It's called the Digital DJ Census and it's about to close, and you get a chance to win incredible DJ gear by being part of this. So for instance, this year we've got a Rane 1 motorized DJ controller, of course, to give away. We also have, and I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head, Novation Focusrite have given us a fantastic studio bundle. Take a look at this. We also have a SC4 Live, which is a fantastic piece of equipment from our friends over there at Rane. Other stuff as well. So if you would like to win a great prize, simply head to our census and you can do so. So in order to do that, if you go to the Digital DJ Tips website, somewhere in the news page there is an article about the census and there we go. Any of these will do. Just click on any of these wins, scroll down and then click on, that's strange. Our website's looking a little bit weird. Hey team, the website's looking weird. Figure it out. Look at that. Hey, give us 5 minutes, we'll get that fixed. And then you are able to read the text and click on the link. But I think that's probably the link there. So if we click on that, there we go. We're into the census. Click on the link that still shows. But team, there's something wrong with the website. Here's all your comments coming in though. This is the most important part about now. It's about chatting to you. So hello to Mixmaster G, Robert, who's in the rainy Netherlands, along with Mixmaster G, Christian, Keshia, the Ruckus, Scratch Gonzo, who says, did I win that Rane 1 yet over on Twitch? Well, we haven't announced the winners yet, so who knows? Could be you, could be anyone. Thank you to You Don't Like My Music for pointing out that the sound at the beginning was only in one channel. Hello to Blake, hello to GM. By the way, if you are watching this on YouTube or on our Facebook page and you're thinking, what's going on there? This is not a normal video. This appears to be someone just talking to a load of people that I'm not part of. Well, it's because you're watching the recording. You should really be here live. These are much more fun live. The recording's great, but they're more fun live. So do make sure you're subscribed and you've clicked notifications on the channel so we can let you know when we are live. So just a few more hellos before we get started with our questions. Adrian, Cadillac Black, Andy on Facebook, Sean and Blake and Technobeat TV on YouTube. Hello to Loris and to Ludovic and DJ Pistol Pete, Rabbite over there on Twitch, Francisco and Michael and DJ AD Foster, loads of you. Wonderful. Right, let's now talk to to you about your questions, and you can ask me anything. You know, my experience in DJing goes back to the late 80s, and I've done the lot. So if you've got a question about your gear, your music, your techniques, playing out, promoting yourself, you ask. I will help if I can. Right, so this is from Cabes. So this is a good question to start with. Cabes says, where do you go to listen to music these days and to come up with creative ideas for mixtapes and sets? So look, it's not about where I go, it's about where you can go to do this stuff. So the first thing is, of course, you're going to be into the music you're into, right? You're going to be listening to music on the radio and in clubs, and that your friends share, and that you hear on your Spotify recommendations or wherever it is you normally listen to music. That's fine. But a piece of advice that I have always carried with me was given by DJ Sasha many, many years ago. Sasha is so important to me. His picture is hanging up over there on the wall, DJing in San Francisco in about 1999. Do you want me to go and get that picture? Should I get that picture and show it to you? It's a great picture. It's an absolute classic. I'll head over there and get it now. I'll take it off the wall just for you guys and girls. A special treat at the beginning of 2023. Here is DJ Sasha back in the day. Look at that. 2 turntables, a small sweaty club, and getting a light from someone back when you could smoke indoors. Lovely picture. And anyway, Sasha's advice, let me just hang that up again, because otherwise it will never happen. Trust me, I know myself too well. Sasha's advice was very simple. He said, just because you play a certain kind of music, it doesn't mean that that's the only kind of music you should... Whoa, told you, this place is a minefield. That is, just because you play a certain kind of music, that doesn't mean that's the only kind of music you should listen to. And I think that is the best advice going. You should be, as a DJ, you should be curious about every kind of music that exists. My musical tastes run literally from Baroque, classical, up to the most noisy electronic music you can imagine. They run from complete underground, like what the hell's that, up to the most cheesy pop, right? Who doesn't like Take On Me by a-ha? Answer, no one. And if you're listening to just the thing that you DJ, then all you're doing is becoming reductive. You're not expanding your tastes and what you're into, and that's got 2 potential problems that I can think of. Number 1, you're going to get bored, because hey, you can have too much of a good thing. But number 2, the more music that you can understand and enjoy and respect and get pleasure from knowing and playing and thinking about, the bigger the audience you can potentially play to while staying true to yourself. I don't believe that you should play music you don't like or don't want to be involved in. But at the same time, I think it's important that you have a wide enough taste in music so that you can play for a wide number of people. Otherwise, you're going to be really limited in the gigs you can get and limited in the kind of DJing you can do. So for all those reasons, my advice to get inspired for music in 2023 is listen to the widest selection you can. What I like to do is just tune all the presets on the car radio into every music station I can find. There's a music station across the border from us here in Gibraltar. We're in Gibraltar, in the south of the Mediterranean, called Radio Nacional España 3, Radio National Spain Channel 3, and they play a really, really weird choice of music, and it's all very chin strokey and there's a lot of talking between the records, but I hear stuff on there that I just have never heard before and probably will never hear again, and I love it. I love to tune into that. It's just one of my channels, but find the ones for you, but don't think that you always have to be listening to the kind of music that you're going to DJ with. I would argue that it's important to listen to music you're definitely not going to be wanting to DJ with. Right, so DJ A.D. Foster says, I took your survey and it was very thorough. I hope that means you enjoyed it, DJ A.D. Foster. Hello to Michael in Gateshead in the UK. Hello to Dr. Clara over on Twitch. Always nice to see you. Right, this is from Loris, who says, hello people, help me. I'm trying to upload my mixes to Mixcloud. I did the requirements, but it still would not let me upload. What do you guys use? Well, hang on a second. Let's get Mixcloud working for you. Mixcloud is the best place to share your mixes. It is a website where you can legally, and that's the point, you can legally share DJ mixes with everyone else. So that means that not only do you have pretty good certainty that your mixes are going to remain on the internet, which we want. We don't want your mixes to disappear. But also it means that 2 things. 1, the people who make the mixes are getting paid. You Yep, you could be paid for your mixes on Mixcloud if enough people listen. But secondly, the people who make the music are getting paid, and that is a brilliant, brilliant thing. So this is Mixcloud. This is my Mixcloud. In lockdown, we committed to doing mixes very regularly, and I got 50 odd mixes up there in that period. I've not done anything since. Too busy teaching. But look, this is what it looks like, and you can click through to the individual mixes. They're very nicely presented, and people can comment on them and so on. So this is a really nice place and a nice way to present your mixes. So stick with it. Find out why it's not working for you. Don't give up at the first base. What I will say is that Mixcloud will charge you for using their service, which is only right because everyone needs to get paid. But if you can get enough listeners, then guess what? Your listeners can subscribe to your channel, and then you can get some money back as well. And the issues with uploading could be that recently they've changed the way it works because server costs going up and so on. Costs are going up everywhere, aren't they? So I think there's a limit now of 10 things that you can upload. So maybe you've already uploaded 10 things and you're on number 11. So you're at the point where you need to pay. So that could be it. But I would say try a different browser. Make sure you've got no extensions that are clashing with the Mixcloud uploader. But it should work. So as long as you have uploaded a track listing like they say, it ought to work. I would definitely stick with it though, because there's no better place to share your DJ mixes online than Mixcloud, in my humble opinion. Thank you for that question. It's a good one. Who was it? Was it Cabes who asked that question? Yes, it was. Thank you, Cabes. Right, more questions. We're into the flow now. 2023 is kicked off officially. This one is just a hello to my good friend Michael, who says good morning, or evening in your case, Phil. Yep, hello Michael, lovely to see you. So this is a question from Steve, who says, hey Phil, I've got a half-hour slot at an open decks night coming up playing funky house. Any tips for preparing that kind of gig? Right, so if it's an open decks night, then presumably there's lots and lots and lots and lots of DJs all playing a half-hour set. My biggest tip would be don't play underground music no one knows. And I'll give you a story which explains why this is a good tip. We once, and I'm talking 20 years ago now, we, as in my friends and I, went to a open decks night. But this was a kind of all-star open decks night. It was above a pub in South Manchester where I lived at the time, and they'd set some decks up and they'd put a big bell that you could ring, ding, next to the decks. And everyone got 15 minutes in that case. And they invited all the great and good DJs from the city. And Manchester's a great city for music, and there's a lot of DJs there. So they invited everyone. And you got DJs who were normally playing to 1,000 people. And, you know, the best DJs in the city were all there, packed into this room above a pub. And it was for charity. And the idea was that everyone got to play for 15 minutes, and then that was it. The bell got rung and the next DJ came on, and it was equal. Doesn't matter whether you were a resident at a cool up-and-coming club or you've been playing the best club in town for the last 20 years. Everyone got their 15 minutes, right? Cool idea. Now, what happened was that everyone was very enthusiastic about it, and the night kicked off at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the evening, and the DJs were all trying to out-cool each other. They were all trying to pull out the most obscure songs, the stuff that they thought no one else had, and do all that stuff that DJs are apt to do when they've got a room full of other DJs, which is basically show off to the other DJs in the room. And that kind of worked a bit at the beginning, but then even the other DJs got bored of hearing all this music that wasn't actually that good, but it was obscure, so hey, box ticked. And then my friend, the DJ who I knew very well at the time, he wasn't down with that at all. He just played his 5 biggest bangers from the moment, and the whole place went absolutely wild. Suddenly, it was like the lid had been popped off and the party started. And it proved something, which is you should never play to other DJs. You should always play to the crowd. So my advice to you is really simple. When you play this open decks night, take your very, very, very best tunes, start with your very best tune, and then try and continue the vibe from there. And you're far more likely, because if you think about the whole night, it's the people playing the nice, good, fun tunes that everyone wants to dance to who are going to get remembered. And I've just got a sneaking suspicion you'll find that if you do that, that you're one of the few who actually is. So look, it's only half an hour. It's no time to build a mood or to, you know, spend 2 hours getting people ready for this track that you just know is going to work if you have that build-up time. You know, none of that. Big tunes. Obviously practice your set a bit, make sure you know how to mix them, but ultimately it's about those big records. That's my piece of advice. I'm sure other people would give different advice there, but I hope that helps you, Steve, and do come back and let us know how you got on with that. So this is from Mixmaster G answering Cabes, sorry, who was wanting to know about where to get inspiration for music. And this is kind of echoing what I said. Mixmaster G says, I'm fully back to listening to the radio for track discovery. So there we go. Where do you get your music from? Where do you discover new music? Let us know and we'll pass it on to Cabes here. Yeah, why not, eh? Michael says, hey everyone, it's Phil's birthday in 8 days. Michael, why did you have to tell everyone? Make sure to wish him a happy 40th. I'll leave that one hanging there. Right, okay. Hello to Magdi on Twitch. Nice to see you over there. Rocco says, Happy New Year. I've got a question. I've got a video capture device hooked up to my laptop via HDMI. And I want to record video mixes using Serato video. I have video but no sound. Any ideas? Interesting. So you are connecting. Yeah, so I think the reason is possibly that you're not routing the audio from Serato into the whatever you're recording the video on. And you can do that if you're using a Mac. Do you say you're using a Mac? You don't say. You can do that using a piece of software called VB Cable. So this could be the issue here, that the audio is not available to whatever it is that you are recording your sets on in your computer. So head to a website called VB Audio. It's vb-audio.com and download VB Cable. It's for Mac and Windows. And you can use this to route the audio from Serato into whatever it is you're recording the video on. And that way you should get that nice clean Serato audio without any more fuss. Have a go at that. If I've understood your question correctly, I think that probably is going to be the solution for you. But again, let us know how you get on. Or if anyone else has got any ideas about that, again, please share them. Right, let us move on with another question then. And this one is coming to us from where's another question? Hashtag ask, by the way. Look, this was made by Ivan, one of our regulars here, who very kindly, in Digital DJ Tips colours, made this. Hashtag ask always helps me because I can search for it when we get really busy in the comments. And if you put it in your question, then I'm more likely to spot it and answer it for you. And please only ask your questions once because we can't answer them all, but if you keep cut and pasting, I'll just ignore it. All right, this is from DJ Ghostbuster Da Hustle from Augusta, Georgia, who says, how to stop when mixing with Numark Party Mix. It seems to kick the songs back at times, playing like a CD skip. Interesting. I'd say you've probably got an issue with the unit there because that really shouldn't happen. So yeah, without testing your unit, I'm not sure. But yeah, not sure. I do have to say that sounds strange. So it sounds like it could be a hardware issue. I want to give my heartfelt good luck, fella, to DJ Technobeat TV, who has been with us for a long time. But Technobeat says, I'm finally DJing at a local festival, and it's my first and biggest show I could ever DJ at. I'm crying with happiness. It's my first time ever, even though no one knows my name. Well, look, we wish you the very best of luck, and you've certainly earned it by being a valuable member of this community. So we wish you an awful lot of luck. Technobeat TV is in the Philippines. So look, it's good luck. Let us know how you do. Excess to the Rave Zone says, hey Phil, that picture you held up, I used exactly the same picture in exactly the same frame. No, Pete's got it in the same frame, and Excess says, I used it for my 6-hour tribute mix, Sasha tribute mix. I actually tracked that picture down and found the original photographer and got him to sell me a copy of it and then got it framed. So yeah, wonderful picture. This is from Cadillac Black, who says, I did my first VJ set, VJ being video DJing or video jockeying. I did my first VJ event last weekend using Virtual DJ, and I must say Virtual DJ is better than Serato video. It's got much more features. Yeah, I think Virtual DJ's video is very good. I agree with you. So I'm glad that went. So this is a question that we get asked a lot, and I'm going to answer it by giving you our standard reply and our standard lesson. It's from Michael. Michael says, how do you manage your music and how do you read a crowd to get it right? So let me give you the trick for doing that. Now, again, I have to tell you that if you grab a copy of this book, I explain this in a lot of detail in here. It's one of the themes that runs through the book. How DJs appear to be just in the zone, tracks are flying onto the decks, everyone's having a great time, and the DJ seems to be doing it effortlessly, right? The trick to that is in preparation, and that's what Rock the Dance Floor is all about. It's about getting you to the point where you can have those moments where, as you put it there, how do you read the crowd to get it right? It's not random. And so here's how it's done. The way to get a gig right is to pack, and by pack I mean put into a crate or a playlist on your DJ software exactly twice the amount of music that you're going to end up playing, right? So take an hour DJ set that you've done in practicing and see how many tracks you played. So let's say you played 20 tracks, 25 tracks in an hour. So let's say your gig is an hour, right? You take 50 tracks with you. Now you're going to have all your music because guess what? Modern DJ software is great. It lets you keep all your music. But here's the thing. If you pretend that you haven't got all your music with you, and by the way, I know DJs who literally will only take these 50 tracks, right? In order for this exercise I'm about to talk to you about to have meaning for them. If you only took those 50 tracks, what would they be? Now you're suddenly starting to think about the gig. You're starting to think about who's going to be there. You're starting to think about the venue. You maybe haven't got enough information about it, so you're thinking, I better get down there. I better get down there and see what the other DJs are playing. And you're now in the preparing for my gig mindset, because everything happens before you play your first song. All that thought and all that choosing of music comes into play the second you start playing that set. If you've packed only double the amount of music you need for that gig, I can guarantee you that you're going to have two hand ready to play a tune next and next and next and next, because you haven't got an awful lot to choose from. But the fact you've got double the amount of music you need means that you've got enough capacity to have packed. What if? What if they're not into that? What if they're into something a bit different? So you've got a bit of that as well, and a bit of that as well, and a bit of this. As long as every tune has been thought about, I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to find you're reading the crowd just fine. How? Because you've thought about who's there. You've thought about who's likely to be there. You've checked out the venue. You've put some thinking into the whole thing. Because the mistake DJs make is thinking, well, I'll just turn up. I've got all my music with me. I've got everything I could possibly want with me. Why practice? Why think about it? I'll just look at what they're into, and if they're not into it, I'll try something else. That doesn't work. Most of the crowd reading is what our tutor, James Hype, calls pre-reading the crowd. It's research. It's finding out other DJs that have played at the venue. It's visiting the venue if you can. It's finding out the kind of people who go there. It's looking at Instagram and reels and video of other people playing there and seeing what they played and seeing what the crowd reaction is. You want to walk in not having any unknowns in your head about what you're likely to find on that dance floor. And guess what? People think, hey, that DJ's reading the crowd really well. But you pre-read the crowd. You knew what they were going to be into. You knew what it was going to be like there because you'd done your work and you'd packed about double the music that you needed. Double is great because it gives you enough to move around and you're not just playing a pre-prepared set, but it's not so much that you get like a rabbit in the headlights where you're like, oh my God, I've got 30,000 tracks on this laptop. Actually, the laptop's there. I've got 30,000 tracks on this laptop. I don't know what to play next. What am I going to do? There's none of that because you've only got double the amount of music. Anyone can look through. And by the way, this came from a record box. This literally came from, I'll show you the record box. It came from this. This has been everywhere with me. It's my record box. This record box used to go on planes. It used to be in the back of my car. And it used to go with me to every gig. Now, sometimes I had two. with a really big gig, you can fit about 60 tunes in there, 60 pieces of vinyl. If you can only fit 60 pieces of vinyl in a record box, you're bloody careful about what 60 you take, and you think really hard about it. And that means that as long as you've done that research properly, you're in a great position to do a good job of that gig. And it's a skill that's been lost with modern DJing. So that's why we recommend that you always pack a crate, especially for that gig, even if the crate is a virtual crate in your DJ software. Of course, if you use Pioneer CDJs, we've got the CDJs over here that you saw on the opening shot, then you could literally just take a USB that's only got that number of tracks on it if you're going to be really purist about it. Okay, so that is our standard answer. Do go grab your copy of the book, by the way. And also, if you want to just read this online, this is a YouTube. This is a Kindle book. It's an Audible book, so you can listen to it as well. Obviously, you can buy it in bookshops, but also it's on the website. So if you head to digitaldjtips.com, you can sign up to Digital DJ Tips, and we'll give you a PDF of the book just for signing up. But you don't even need to do that. You know, we want you to have this info. Head to the website, click the DJ test at the top. Sorry, that's not where you go at all. That's something else entirely. Click the book at the top. This is broken again. We need to get this fixed rapid fire style. No idea why. So anyway, click there and you can read the book by clicking down here into all these areas. It's probably just my computer. There's probably something weird going on my computer. But guess what? I'm going to screenshot that right now, and then I'm going to just tell my team immediately. I'm sure you don't mind me doing this while we are chatting, because I want them to see this straight away. Because I'll forget, and if I forget, the website might look weird for a little bit longer than I would like. So just give me a second to post this to the team. It's all good fun, this, isn't it? You know, you don't get to see this stuff if it's not alive, because if it's not alive, then this would be edited out. But hey, it is alive, and I'm quite cool with that. I hope you are too. So here we go. Here's my team chat. Let me grab that image, pull it into the team chat. Is the website broken like this for you? Anyone? Is the website broken like this for anyone else? Says Phil. There we go. Right, that's it. The team have now got that. I can forget about it. Think it's your laptop, they're saying. Well, might be your laptop as well. Tell me. Let's get back to the questions. Right, this next one then is from DJ Raven 216, who says, I have a question. I'm doing an opening for a friend's birthday party. It's pretty much open genre, so I want to set the tone with future bass, dubstep and future house while everyone else might be doing drum and bass. Okay. You then say, and I'm going to read this out exactly as you've written it, because maybe it will make sense as I do. Maybe if it doesn't, someone else can help. Would I be a good tone sider or opening said to play? DJ Raven, I don't know what you mean. Have another go at that, and I'll try and help you. I don't know what you mean there. I've got to be honest, so sorry about that. This is from Andy, who says, I'm looking at your courses, Phil, but there are so many. I'm not sure what one would be best for me. I'm a foundation DJ at the moment. I want to get into club DJing. I got a controller a couple of years ago and I've been practicing with it. Really, really simple. I could show you, but our website's not showing. Oh, it is. This bit's working. Head to the Digital DJ Tips courses page, scroll down and click on the Complete DJ course. This is the one for pretty much everyone who comes to Digital DJ Tips as a new DJ, as a DJ who's just messing around, or as a DJ who has returned to DJing after a bit of a break. It is our flagship course and it covers everything that's in here with me teaching it to you. So this book is kind of our Bible about how to DJ, and it's based around the 5 big areas of DJing which are shown in this diagram here, which are gear, music, techniques, playing out and promoting yourself. The idea is that unless you have all 5, you're not going to improve as a DJ. It's all very well having the gear, but if you haven't got any music, well, you're in trouble, right? If you've got the music but you don't understand how to use the gear, again, what's the point? You can't actually do anything with the music. So once you've got your gear, you've got your techie stuff sorted out, and you've got your music, techniques is what you do. What you do on the gear with that music, right? This is the skills of DJing. And this is what traditionally people think they need to learn. Oh, I need to learn some cool mixes. Well, it's no good if you don't understand how DJ gear works, so one day you're asked to play on something like this and you can't do it, or there's something wrong with your settings and you can't fix them, you need the geeky stuff, just like you need the great music library. And then once you've got that stuff, then you can learn how to mix and how to do all the clever stuff. And so it's important to have that stuff, of course it is, but it's only part of the picture. Then it's playing out. Now, DJing is not only about DJing at home, it's about playing out and performing. And performing is very, very different. It's just like singing or being in a band or being an actor, being on the stage. It's a performance. You're in front of other people. There's a whole new set of skills when you're in front of other people that are different to just DJing at home on the gear that you understand, with the music you love, with the techniques you've just learned. So you've got to learn about playing out, or else you're going to be in big trouble at your first gig. And finally, promoting yourself. And this isn't about being David Guetta. It's just about how to get more of these gigs, because I guarantee when you play one of them, you're going to want loads, loads, loads more. When you've got all 5, you're advancing as a DJ, you're improving as a DJ. But here's the really cool thing. You don't need to be a genius at any of them. You just need to be slowly improving in all these 5 areas, because it's like a multiplier. It's like as soon as you add a little bit to the one that you're currently weakest at, your whole DJing will rise. Your whole skill set will go up and your success will rise as well. Now, this is really, really powerful. This 5 steps of DJing success that we've covered in this book has got hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews on Amazon and Apple and Audible and Kindle and all that stuff, right? This works. And the course I just showed you is the 5-step formula in a course with about 80 or 90 videos of me talking you through the whole lot. So this is the one for you. This is the one where most people start. And unless you've got a really good reason to look at something else, don't look any further than our complete DJ course. Right. Easy to answer. I like the ones that are easy to answer. This is from Mark, who says, what's your preferred way of sorting music and why? So I talked to you about how I like to, well, how I think everyone should pack a crate for their sets. I don't think sorting music is particularly important, because as long as you've got the artist, the title, the genre, the year attached to all your music files, then you can sort by just clicking the column at the top of the DJ software. You want everything from the 1980s, that's house. You click on the year column and you scroll down, and on some software you can then press shift and genre, and it will keep the year, but then it will sort within the different years into the genres. Or you can set up what is called a smart filter, or a smart crate, or a smart playlist, or an intelligent playlist, where basically you give it those rules. You say, I want you to give me everything from 1980 to 1989 that's tagged house, and there is all your early house music, right? Or whatever your particular filter might be. So you don't need to do any sorting. You can just filter and click by columns to get the music that you want. So for me, it's all about doing that and then packing the different crates for each individual gig. But let me give you an alternative, because Laidback Luke, our tutor, has a slightly different way of doing it. Now, Luke always plays, the same kind, roughly the same kind of gigs. Now, what Luke does is he has his, like, let's say he's got 10 genres that he plays. He's got like tropical house and old school house and techno and whatever his genres are, right? He has a folder or a playlist or a crate for each of those genres in his DJ software. And he simply puts the music from his main library into that folder when he adds tracks to his software, right? It's always going to go into one of his genres. And he keeps those organized by date. So when he goes to one of those folders, at the top of his list is the most recently added track, and at the bottom is the one he added first. Or the one that was released first. It depends how you want to do it, but the one that was newest to him and his collection is at the top, and the one that he added to his collection first was at the bottom. And so the way Luke DJs is, he'll say, okay, I'm going to start off with a bit of, tropical house, then I'm going to move into a bit of big room house, then I'm going to move into a bit of trance, or whatever it is he wants to do. He'll click the folder or the crate or the playlist for that particular genre, and he'll look at the top, look at the big records that are working for him at the moment. And he'll probably play a couple from there, but he might want to do a few deep cuts as well, so he'll scroll down and look at if there's anything else. But generally, the newer songs are at the top, and they're the ones people want to hear. And then when he wants to switch to a slightly different genre, he'll go to the next folder and do the same thing, and the same thing, and the same thing. It's a slightly different way of doing it. That might work for you as well. But there's 2 ways there of doing it, so Either of those marks should give you a starting point for your own collection. The important thing, I think, is to get that metadata right so that you've got that list of music for easily sortable. Because if you haven't got the year and the genre and the other stuff that you are going to need to do that, then hey, it's no good because there's nothing to sort by, right? So adding all that stuff is the most important thing, and you do that when you add tunes to your collection, of course. Here's a great one. We get asked this all the time. By the way, if you're enjoying this, I keep forgetting to say this because I'm not a YouTuber or a natural born streamer. Please do click those likes, do click those shares, do click anything that can get this out a bit further or get the algorithm to love it, because hey, you're passing it on to other DJs there as well. This is from Sean, and Sean says, when you're adjusting beat grids in your DJ software, sometimes there are songs that have an occasional extra couple of beats, or maybe an extra 4 beats or whatever. A couple of beats is the big problem with beat grids. Say after a chorus. So the chorus will end, 1, 2, in again, right? Great, nothing wrong with that. The trouble is, beat grids, which are the grids the software puts over your music so that it knows where the beats are, so that it can then use beat loops and echoes and reverbs, and echoes and delays and any effects that need the beat to sound good as they echo out, and also of course the sync button. That needs a good beat grid. That needs those grids to be accurate. So the software uses these grids. It's worth having them right. But the problem is they work in bars. So it will have a big line that says this is the first beat of the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And those ones will be more prominent in the beat grid. And indeed, you can set the software so that when you press the sync button, it lines the whole bar up, right? And so this can be a problem if you've got a song, because most songs are based around very, 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 very regular sets of 4 beats, right? And those sets of 4 beats are arranged in bigger sets of 4 or 8, and they're arranged in bigger sets. And so the whole thing is totally uniform, totally. So 95 times out of 100, there's no problem with these beat grids. But sometimes a producer will have a great big build, 2, 3, bang, and the track comes in again, right? So that couple of beats throws the whole thing off because it's all done in bars. So the question is, from Sean, when you're adjusting your beat grids for those occasional 2-beat issues in songs, maybe after a chorus or, as I just said before, a drop or something, is there any way to make that a 2-beat measure so that the grid isn't offset? In other words, from there on in, those bar lines are in the wrong place. And the answer to that, Sean, is no. And the reason the answer to that is no is that it doesn't matter, because you can, unless you've got your DJ software set so that when you hit that sync button on your DJ gear, it lines up the whole bar and not just the nearest beat. Unless you've got your DJ software set like that, and I strongly, strongly advise you not to, most DJ software won't even let you do it, it doesn't matter. Yes, it's visually a little bit unappealing, but it doesn't matter. And so you see, you could do that, but then what you're actually telling the software if you do that is, I want you to play, basically the track goes to a tempo that's twice as fast as it really is for this 1 bar of music, and that starts to get complicated. So no, there's no way around that, Sean, but it shouldn't really matter. It's not something you need to worry about. It's just one of those things. But it's a great question. Thank you for asking that. And it's something that I kind of worried about once a long time ago, until I thought, actually, it doesn't make any difference. A few of you talking about Mixcloud. We were talking a little bit earlier about just checking where we are on time. I don't want to miss questions if I can help it. I'm talking about Mixcloud. It's a good place to upload your music, and I was showing you the Mixcloud website as we were doing that. With my own mixes on Mixcloud here, and the question is, or rather the thing that the commenter is saying here is that Mixcloud's great, love it, but the mobile app is not very good. You know, there's a lot of things about Mixcloud that I think are not very good, but as DJ Vil says here, I love it. It just needs to grow. It's smaller than it could be. Its live streaming stuff is not as good as it could be. Its API is really, really annoying. So for instance, you know, here we're live and I'm chatting to you. We're actually live on, and I'll show you the internal workings here. We're live on all these platforms here. Twitch, YouTube, our Digital DJ Tips Facebook page and our Facebook group. We're live in all these places at the moment, and I'm getting all the comments from you coming through here, so I can read out wherever you're talking, wherever you're chatting, I can see it all here. And Mixcloud has pushed itself as a DJ live streaming platform, but you can't do any of this stuff. And so people are just going to Twitch, and I think it's really sad. I'd love to see, because Twitch isn't even legal, technically, for DJs, I'd love to see them just sorting it out. And I chatted to them about it at ADE, which is the Amsterdam dance event in October. Sat down and said, look, you've got to fix this stuff because DJs are not using your service and you should be the go-to service. And they listened, but they're a small company. You know, Twitch is massive, Facebook is massive, YouTube is massive. So you can't expect these little companies to be able to do everything. But I agree with you. They do need our love because they are doing it right, and there's no one else doing it right at the moment. Right, let's grab another question. Do you think, says DJ Rohan95, Pioneer DJ will release an SZ3 to compete with the new Rane 4? This is the new Rane 4. It is the current flagship Rane product for Serato DJ Pro. 4 channels, lots of control over stems. It is a fantastic controller, and it is better than any DJ controller that Pioneer DJ has for Serato at the moment. Are Pioneer DJ going to release something as good or as highly featured? I strongly think they will, but I have no word on what's coming from them. And the reason you're talking about the SZ3 is that the SX and the SZ were big controllers. Do you mean the SZ or the SX? Anyway, these were big controllers for Serato back in the day, but now they're not really so focused on that. And I think the main reason they're not so focused on that is that they've got Rekordbox, of course, their own software nowadays. But there's still a lot of money to be made from Serato controllers, and their financial people will know that. So I wouldn't put it past them to release another controller for Serato that's pretty cool soon. Remember, of course, they have got the Rev 7, which is a fantastic Serato controller, but that's a bit different because it's got motorized platters, it's only 2 channel, it's aimed at scratch DJs, whereas this is more performance DJ controller. Right, let us have another question then, and this is from Payam on our YouTube channel. And Payam says, I've got a question about gear. Would it be wise if I invest in a second, I love this question, Payam, in a second subwoofer? Considering nowadays that people resent hiring DJs because of prices. Right, well, there's a lot to unpack here. Subwoofers are great. Subwoofers are the kind of thing that, if you don't know what a subwoofer is, it's the speaker that sits on the floor that just does the boom, 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 boom. That bit my hand's doing is coming out of the top speakers, but the boom, 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 that's all coming out the subwoofers. It is really obvious when you turn a subwoofer off. Really obvious. You just want it back again. You want that bass back again that you can feel in your stomach, right? That's what DJing's about. That's what dance music's about. It moves your stomach. Even if you can't hear it, your body's vibrating from it. And subwoofers give you sub bass. They give you all that good stuff. And so once you've kind of got one, you don't want to get rid of it. So the question is, should I invest in a second one? Now, you know, most mobile DJs will think about this. So they might have 2 speakers on columns up like this, which is right, because the speakers that are giving you that mid-range and that high frequency, you want it to be at ear level because it's doing its job for people's ears, because it's very directional. Bass is not directional. Bass, it literally just, because the wavelengths are so long, it just bounces around everywhere. It's either on or off. So there's really no worry about where your bass speaker, I mean, there is. Any audio engineer will say, oh no, you've got to worry about that. No, not compared to the high speakers. So the bass is a subwoofer that traditionally just goes on the floor, right? Now sometimes there's a pole that comes up where your top speaker goes, and if you've got 2 subwoofers, you'll have 1, 2 poles, 2 high speakers. Lovely. But a lot of DJs will have just 1 subwoofer. It might be tucked somewhere near the DJ booth or in the corner, and they'll still have the 2 tops. Look, a lot of the time that's fine. It just depends upon the quality of the PA system you're using, the size of the rooms you play at, the number of people you DJ to. But it's always good to have extra equipment, theoretically. Costs money to maintain. Don't forget maintenance. You've got to move the bloody stuff around. So if it's just you, loading, unloading, and all that stuff, think that through. There's nothing worse than the bar staff sat there at the end of the night waiting for you to pack your gear so they can go home. Doesn't win you any friends. So do think about whether it's worth it. The second part of your question though, considering nowadays people resent hiring DJs because of prices, there's an awful lot in that single statement. I have DJ colleagues, DJ students of this school and tutors in this school who are charging massive amounts of money for every kind of DJing nowadays, from wedding DJing to corporate events to James and Luke and so on, selling out festivals and not getting out of bed for anything less than a 5-figure sum of money. So people do not resent paying for DJs, but at the same time, you're not going to get big money unless you're doing something that people really want. So it's about building your skills. And it could just be that rather than invest more and more money in equipment, you need to do a little bit more work about what is needed in your area, how you can appeal to the people who've got the kind of money to pay you decently for this, because I can guarantee you it's not really about money. And here's a really good example of that. I was coaching a DJ. We have a course called the Mobile DJ Blueprint, which is about setting up a DJ business. I was coaching a DJ and that course is all about making more money from mobile DJing. Coaching a DJ in there who's saying, look, Phil, there's no way I can charge more money. People just haven't got the money where I live. And we talked through all kinds of things. I won't bore you with it here. It's in the course if you're interested. But we talked through the idea that you've got to sell value before you mention prices. You've got to have face-to-face meetings with potential clients. You've got to show them proof. There's always someone looking for who doesn't want to pay cheap because they know they're not going to get something good. But you've got to be good enough to then deliver on that. And we got this DJ to that point where they were charging double what they used to be charging and they were delivering. And this DJ came back to me and said, you were so right. I charged double for this event. I tried very hard to make it work. It did work. They were very pleased. And I got the biggest tip I've ever had at the end. Now, someone who cannot afford or who resents paying DJs is not going to hire you for double the money that you would have charged this time last year and then give you a massive tip at the end if they haven't got money. They're going to do that though if you've done a good job. So it's always about doing a good job. So it could be if you feel that people are resenting hiring you because of your prices, that instead of spending money on subwoofers, you should be spending time on finding the people who are going to pay you. And then the first time you get a massive paycheck from something like that, go buy your subwoofer as a reward. Pay right. A little bit of life advice there. You know, DJing's fun. DJing's a hobby. Most of us, it's just fun, right? We don't care about any of that stuff. But if you are trying to do this for a living, then you've got to start thinking in that kind of way. Right, let's grab another live question. And I always say it, and I'll say it again now with no apologies. It's lovely at this time to see so many of you responding to each other and helping each other out in the comments, because the second thing I always say in the last 10 minutes, which is where we are now, is that I literally haven't reached halfway through the questions that have come in live on this system we've got here. I'm literally at 20 past the hour and it's now 10 to the hour. So I've got half an hour's worth of questions I'm probably not going to reach here. If you are one of those people, my team will try to get to you in the comments on Facebook and YouTube at least and answer your questions there. But if they don't, then come back next week, be a little bit earlier. Right, let's grab another one then. This is from Yerba Santa, who says, I have this issue when if I select my USB mixing console as the output, the sound comes through nice and bassy through my studio monitors. But then if I select my mixer, it's a Rane mixer, it sounds more constricted, like I'm using smaller speakers. Any idea why? I don't have any idea why, but you should have your speakers plugged into your Rane. So I don't understand what you're trying to do there, Yerba. Your speakers should be plugged into your mixer anyway, so you shouldn't need to be doing that at all. So maybe a bit more information needed there to be able to help you. Lou, I know the pain. I know the pain, my friend. All my music is all over the place on all of my iTunes and all of my different unknown files. Is there an app or a program that can extract all the music from my Mac and put it in one place? Thanks. No, there isn't that I know of, but I'll tell you a way of doing it. Get it all into your iTunes, right? I'm going to guess, Lou, that it's all in your iTunes, right? It doesn't need to be physically in your iTunes folders or anything, but I'm going to guess it's all in your iTunes. Am I right? This goes for anyone who has got music all over the place and iTunes running, or music as it's now called in Mac OS. Get it all into your iTunes, right? And then go to that song view where you can see every song that you've got in your iTunes. And then If you've got a big hard drive, you can just do it the way I'm about to say, but if not, get an external drive and plug in, right? What you're going to do next is you're going to literally get that song list. You're going to click Control and A, or just click the top one, scroll to the bottom, hold down Shift and click the bottom one. You're going to highlight all those tunes, right? Every one of them. This is all your music. You've got it all in iTunes, you've highlighted it. You're going to drag it to a folder on your desktop or to a external hard drive you've plugged in, and you're going to let go. And your computer's going to freeze because you've just dragged 10, 20, 30,000 tunes, whatever. It's going to freeze and you're like, have I done something wrong? In the end, it will start saying copying. And it will take a copy of every single one of those tunes wherever they are on your hard drive, wherever they are. They could be in your iTunes folder, could be in your downloads folder, they could be in a folder you made when a mate gave you a load of CDs to rip 10 years ago. It doesn't matter. It's going to take every single one of those tunes and make a copy of it, put it in one place. Now you've got all your music in one place. You can just unplug that drive. There you go. There it all is. Obviously the job now is to sort it out, do all the metadata, do all the stuff we talked about, but at least you've got it all in one place then. So that would always be my advice at the very beginning of trying to sort this out. Now there is another way of doing that, and if you're a little bit technically minded, let me talk you through it. I won't take too long to do this, but let me talk you through it. If you go to the search function on your hardware, so on your computer, like so Windows or Mac or whatever, you open a Finder or an Explorer window and you go to the search bar. There's always a search bar at the top, right? So you can search your whole computer for tunes. If you search for .mp3, it will put every single file anywhere on your computer that ends with .mp3. Now it could be samples, it could be audio files you've downloaded that have nothing to do with music. It's basically going to be all your MP3s. Drag them into a folder. Do the same for all the other music formats, .wav, .flac, etc., etc. And so after doing 5 or 6 music formats, you've done the same thing. You've got every audio file from your computer and you put them on a folder. But it might not all be music, right? So that's just another way of doing it. And that way you are achieving the same thing, which is taking music that's all over the place, putting it all in one place. It is something that the more music you get, the harder it is to fix. So Lou, I don't know how much music we're talking about here, but I wish you the very, very best of luck for that. Benny says, I'm going through the book right now because I've got an event on Saturday. Well, again, Benny, come back and let us know how the event goes. DJ Stu C, this is a lovely question. How many people actually practice DJ sets? I think about my first track when I'm driving to the gig and I just go from there. And if we were to draw it on a graph, I think you've got like the number of gigs you play here and the amount you practice here. In other words, if you only play 1 gig a year, you do a lot of practice. If you play 1 gig a night, you don't do any practice. Makes sense, doesn't it? Because your gigs become your practice. Also, if we were to draw a graph about year 1 of DJing and year 30 of DJing, assuming you're still DJing 30 years on, you will find the same thing. Because what you do here is pretty finite. It's learnable. Yes, if you are a DMC standard scratch DJ, it's just like being a top athlete. You've got to keep that muscle memory, you've got to practice. But most of what you do on here is not like that. Most of it is pretty basic once you've mastered it. And that can take years, of course. Because what happens is, once you actually figure out how it all works and you're quite happy with the equipment and you're quite happy with what we call the techniques part of DJing in the book, it becomes more and more about the music. And so you don't need to be hands-on with DJ gear to be doing the work, thinking about mixes, thinking about transitions, thinking about how you're going to structure a set in your head. You don't need the DJ gear there. Quite often you don't even need the music. Seriously. A few years ago, I was thinking, why don't I listen to music as much anymore? Am I going off music? Am I turning into a bit of a fraud, running a big DJ website and not really listening to music very much? And it really troubled me for a few months. And do you know what I realized? I have always got literally 2 tunes playing in my head, because if whatever I've got going in my head, I'm always thinking about another song that might sound like it. Or if there's a record on the radio, I'm always singing something else over the top and thinking, that'd be a good one to try. It's like it's all gone inside me and I don't need the gear or the music anymore. I don't need my ears anymore and I don't need my hands on the equipment anymore. And I suddenly realised I'm a hopeless addict, even more than I ever have been. And that's the lesson in there, is that the more you DJ, the less you practice. And also the more gigs you have, the less you practice. So that's absolutely fine. You will find that DJs practice a lot more at the beginning because of those reasons, in my view, and in the view of me after many years of doing this and helping DJs with it. DJ Lahara, who I think has got our very last question for today. DJ Lahara says, I've been following you for years. Keep up the good work. Well, firstly, thank you for that. I'm a Traktor guy since day one. I've been thinking about the new Flex 4. That's this controller here, which is actually a very nice controller. Let's hold it up here to show you how small it is compared to the Rev. Not the Rev, the Rane 4 I've got here. This is the DJ Flex 4 from Pioneer DJ. I've been thinking about this. I was not impressed with the Rev 1 though, because of the layout of the Rev 1. What should I go for? Well, if you're a Traktor DJ, why are you going for a controller that isn't made for Traktor? Yes, you can map it, but why not go for the Traktor Control S2? I would say for Traktor DJs, always stick with Traktor controllers, and the reason is that the jog wheels work better. The jog wheel mappings for Traktor are notoriously hard to get right, and no external controller. Even this one here, by the way, which is, they literally, Pioneer DJ say, you can use this with Traktor. We've got a mapping for it, the Flex 6. Don't work. Yes, it works, but the jog wheels are terrible. You can't control the effects, etc., etc. Just like any other external controller from a third party for Traktor. If you want to use Traktor, use a Traktor controller. The S2, the S3, and the S4 are all very, very good. That said, if what you're saying is you want to leave Traktor and start using Record Box, which would be the obvious one to use with the Pioneer DJ Flex 4, because it is a Record Box controller, although it works with Serato as well, then it's a big question. Switching your software is not easy, especially if you've been with one since day one. So I'm getting the impression, DJ Lahara, that you've been DJing for quite a while. You're going to find it hard. It's like getting divorced. You know, you can change your gear all the time. That's okay, because the software is the real power, but you change your software, it gets hard. So think about it, think hard about it, because I think sticking with the software you know is usually the best choice. But if you do want to switch to a different controller, that's a very, very good one. The Flex 4 is excellent. The other one you mentioned is the Rev 1, and you say that you think the play button is too close to the fader for scratching. This is the Rev 1. This is a Serato controller, and it's designed for scratching. It's got the same scratch layout that you find on the DJ MS7, 9 and 11 mixers here. It's got big jog wheels, and it's even got the scratch layout with it's like the deck's been turned 90 degrees, just like you would with a real turntable. But your issue with this, and it's a valid one, is that you think that the play button, and I think you mean this one here, is too close to the crossfader for scratching. I don't think it is actually. I think the biggest problem with this controller is that these buttons here are incredibly cramped to try and ape. You see, the idea with this is they've tried to make this ape the Pioneer style, or the basic style of mixers like the DJ MS7, which I'm about to show you here. This is the DJ MS7. This kind of style of mixer, which are very, very popular with scratch DJs, where you've got your 2 channels and you've got all your buttons here for controlling your performance pads and so on, and then 2 paddles for your effects, and this kind of layout here. This is trying to do the same thing here, and it kind of works, it almost works, but these are very close together. It's all right. Some people will not have a problem with that at all, but other people would say, yeah, that looks a little bit cramped for me, and you can see where they're coming from. Anyway, both of them are very good beginner controllers, but again, think about whether you really want to change your software, because it's not an easy thing to do, to suddenly take up a new piece of software and think that you can get back to where you were before. It might take you a few weeks of frustration to get back to DJing the way that you used to DJ on Traktor. People, I've got to go now. We got down to 27 minutes past the hour, which means that there's 33 minutes worth of comments I haven't even seen. Don't apologise for that. I can't help that. We could be here for hours and hours and hours, and I've got to get back to editing a video over there for our Serato Made Easy course, which is coming out again, hopefully at the end of February, in a completely new version, all redone by me with Serato 3, with the stems function in it, and all the other stuff that's been added to that software since we made the last edition of that course. It will be the 3rd version of that course that we've made, and I'm in the middle of filming for it now. My team are working hard on it. I've got to get back to that. So keep an eye out for it. But look, it's been absolutely wonderful chatting to you all today, and we'll be back again next week. So come next week, come early, ask a question early, and I'll try my hardest to get to you. If you're on Facebook, it's the best place to leave your question, because we can look at them immediately after here. We can go to Facebook and look at all the questions and try and answer some of them for you. They disappear on YouTube, and Twitch, of course, there's no recording kept. So Facebook's always a good place. Michael, finally, this is not a question, but Michael says, you need to come to Chicago, Phil, and run the marathon this year. Can I put you in the schedule? There's a story here, people, which I'll end with. Michael is a fantastic student and friend of Digital DJ Tips and of me. And my wife actually went to run the Chicago Marathon just this last time, and she's been putting it off and off and off because of COVID and so on. And Michael lives in Chicago and very, very kindly looked after her, and they had an absolutely wonderful time. So Michael's saying, you need to come. You know what, Michael? I'm not fast enough. I like running, but I'm not fast enough. I can't qualify for it like my wife can. Maybe I'll get good enough to come over. Anyway, different picture, different story. It's been a pleasure, people. Get good, get out there, make the moments. I'll see you again next week, also on Tuesday next week, for another free tutorial from this same studio at the same time, 3 p.m. London, 10 a.m. Eastern. So for either of those shows next week, can't wait. Until then, get good, get out there, and make the moments. Bye for now.